already hinted at, sports mega events hosted by autocracies are not at all a new phenomenon. As you can see here, examples include the FIFA World Cup in Mussolini's Italy in 1934, but also the Nazi Olympics in Germany hosted by the Hitler regime. But when we look at our data, we see that the share of autocratic hosts among all host nations has more than quadrupled in the last 30 years. Again, examples include China, Russia, Belarus, Qatar, and increasingly also, as you all know much better than I do, Saudi Arabia. So the question then is, does it matter? Or rather, should we be concerned about this pattern or this trend? And for us, the answer is a clear yes, because our analysis show that sports mega events in autocracies put dissidents in great danger with potentially deadly consequences. As you can see from this graph here, autocratic regimes tend to increase their level of repression even more than they do so by normal standards in the weeks, months, or even years before they host big sports tournaments, as you can see here indicated in this gray bar. And when we zoom in a bit more into a specific host country, we see actually a pattern that is even more striking. So this graph here shows you government killings or forced disappearances before the 1978 FIFA World Cup in Argentina, which was a military dictatorship back then in these days. Here we distinguish between state violence over time in host cities on the left-hand side, where matches were played, and other cities where no such matches took place. And as you can see from the left panel, in host cities, the number of government killings dramatically spiked in the months or weeks before the World Cup. By contrast, as soon as the tournament had started, the regime by and large stopped using violence. And for comparison, here on the right-hand side, this panel shows that no such repression wave happened in other cities where no matches were played. So this begs the question as to why autocratic host regimes strategically target dissidents in host cities before the tournaments. And to answer this question, we need to look at the reasons why hosting sports mega events is so attractive, but also so frightening for dictators. And that is clearly the unmatched global media attention around international sports events and the thousands of international journalists inside the country during such tournaments. On the one hand, obviously, the autocrats want to use this unique media attention to boost their own reputation and convey an image of a friendly and peace-loving host. On the other hand, however, they are also afraid that dissidents might hijack the spotlight and voice their discontent under the protection of the assembled world press in the country. In the autocrat's worst-case scenario, you might say, the regime is facing massive protests and must use repression while the world is watching. In other words, the result is a full-scale PR disaster rather than a PR success or an image boost that the dictators desire so much. And this is why, according to our explanation, autocratic host regimes have such strong incentives to clear the streets from potential troublemakers before the journalists arrive to report from the tournament. And this strategy aims to prevent the risk of a control loss during the tournament and allowing the regime to uphold the facade of a peace-loving regime. And we have found basically dozens of examples from across time, space, and types of sports where regimes used exactly this violent strategy to appear peaceful during sports mega events and to boost their image.